is you need to find you, and you need to find out who you are and decide what you want to be. Anybody can sit up on the stage. And I'll tell you a little bit about my story. See, some people think that top producers fly and leap tall buildings and do all kinds of crazy stuff. We bleed just like you do. We have the same fears, the same challenges. We may have a little different background, but we have similar struggles. I'll tell you a story. When I was 8 years old, I was big time into baseball. That was my thing. I eat, slept, drank baseball, collect all the baseball cards, had Mickey Mantle, Babe Ruth, had all these cool cards. It was just, man, that was my thing. So my first year I sucked. And I just wasn't any good. And I was the worst player on the team. What that did for me is that lit a fire. And I thought to myself, there's no way in the world that I'm going to be the worst player next year. So what I did is I would practice every day. I would practice in my backyard. My dad bought me a batting machine, and I practiced my glove speed against, I had an 8-foot wide brick chimney. And so I practiced and practiced and practiced and practiced and practiced. And I became good. In fact, next year I was the third best player on the team. Now the ages were 8 to 12 years old, Ashley, so a 9-year-old is not going to be as good as the 12-year-olds that are on the travel team. But I was the third best player. And I got this award. And it changed my life. At the end of the year, they said, you know, we have one player here that never struck out, never made an error. And I'm thinking to myself, it's got to be one of these two, you know, the two Hercules, the big guys that are larger than life. When you're 9 years old and somebody's 12 years old, they seem like they're giants. And he said Frank Montro. And I remember walking down the aisle. I didn't have a red carpet like I do now. Thank you for the red carpet.
100%.
Appreciate it.
I got you.
So, but what happened was, it was weird. Like, I heard the applause, but I didn't. And it was like I was in the zone. And this inner voice said, this is what hard work does for you. So when somebody comes to me and says, how do I get successful? The first thing I'm going to look and see is, are you working hard? Because that is the easiest way to get out of a hole. It's consistent hard work. We'll get into that in a second, but I want to get into more of what happened in my life. So, you know, I made hard work my stick. My dad was my hero. So I would get up at 4:30 in the morning. I would start working, studying, because we didn't have all the Game Boys and all that stuff back then. We didn't, you know, we had video games. We had to go to stores to play Asteroids and Pac-Man. We didn't have anything we can get home. So my dad got up at 4:30. He was my hero. So I did what my dad did, you know. So my dad worked, so I worked. So I started studying. Not only was I an A student, I used to get hundreds on everything because I studied so much. Not because I was super brainiac, but I'm outscoring people that have much higher IQs than I am. And I realized the value of hard work. And when I came to Chicago, you think, some of you here think that you have that you have a rough life, that things aren't going well. Imagine this. Come back with me in time for a second. Put your ass in a time machine for a second. Go back with me to 1983. I came into town with $2,000 in my pocket, a used Buick Century, full tank of gas, and I didn't know what I was doing. I knew nothing about. I knew that I wanted to be in sales. I knew I wanted to be in real estate. I've got a guy here today. You need to stick around and listen to this guy's a game changer. So one of the things that I want to encourage everyone today is when I mentioned in the beginning to know yourself, it's your God-given responsibility to figure out who you are. We're not born with a roadmap. We're not born with a GPS where, turn left in 500 feet. We don't have that. We have to figure that out on our own through prayer, meditation, and also through a personality test. Now, there's a gentleman that's going to speak on the part 2 section that is a rock star in this area, and he can change your life. Let me put it this way: one of my top agent, the first class we took with him, my top agent came out, and I said to him, "Hey, Aaron, what did you think of that?" He goes, "I'm free." I'm like, "What?" And so this is how powerful. Follow me, guys. This is how powerful this is. When you understand that you're wired differently than everyone else, you can let go of your anger, and you can communicate more effectively. What that means is you could save your relationship, your personal relationship, or make it better, and also you're going to close more deals. Because I'm a high D personality. So if you're an I and you're going to come at me, and you're going to I'm banging my head against the wall, But see, that's just the way I'm wired. And then people think, well, there's something wrong with me because of how I react. I mean, we hear, I'm a high D. Steve told me I test 100%. One of the 5 that he's ever tested is 100%. He's an alley. Okay. I'm very extreme with my personality. Now that I know that I have to, when I talk to certain types of personalities, I talk to, I pay attention to where they're at. And after a while, you start figuring out based on how they talk. You don't need to have, hey, look, I want to meet with you to show a house, but you got to take this test first. You don't need to do. You can just by the way they answer, you can kind of tell. Like when I go on a listing appointment, I say to a seller, "Hey, what do you think your house is worth?" He goes, "You tell me. You're the expert." I'm like, "Gotcha. You're high D. Now I'm going to reel your ass in, man, because I know how to talk to you now."
Right.
But see.
So Frank. Okay, so I want to play off of knowing yourself, right? Because I know this is very important to you. It's very important to this conversation. So let's talk about your journey when you said, let's just take a journey back in time, because I think this is an important part of your story when you were with Arthur Andersen. And this is when you of uncover, hey, maybe I'm not in the right seat. And this leads you to Chicago. So I want us to get to that journey.
Oh, thank you I skipped over that one. Very, very, very important. And so every person I hire, I check their personality. Listen, you may be in the wrong chair. You may be struggling right now because you may be sitting in the wrong chair. So in other words, if you're not wired to work with sellers, and there's a definite personality type that fits that mold, and you're trying to work with sellers, and you're miserable, it could be not because there's something wrong with you or you're lazy. You're just not inspired or motivated because it's really not your lane. Now, getting back to Arthur Andersen, thank you for bringing that back. So I got into it for all the wrong reasons. I'm like, okay, I'm good at numbers. I love doing numbers. Where can I make money? Arthur Andersen, back in 1983, partners are making $250,000. I'm like, cool. The only thing that I took in consideration was money. That was a huge mistake, and I'm warning you right now. I'm warning you, if your only motivation is money, you can make money anywhere. In real estate, the beauty of it is you can make money working with sellers, with buyers, with investors, with commercial, with renters, with every facet. There's so many moving parts in real estate, and they're ever changing. And I think part 2, I might get into that a little bit more. But thank you again for bringing it up, because then, after 3.5 years, I was burnt out. And Yeah, I was doing a good job, but I was absolutely like falling apart on the inside. I was miserable. I had this hole in my heart. I didn't know why. So I realized after I left, and I went in, and I did a lot of stuff in the past where I worked with people. I had a job selling Cutco knives, if anybody remembers that scene. That was fun. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the heck. I had paper routes, 2 paper routes. I love collecting money, interacting with people. So I thought, I got to get back to working with people. So I shopped around, talked to all my college buddies, and I really liked the real estate deal. So I got in it, and several years later.
Okay, but I have to stop you because this is so important. Because you have so much courage, you made these phone calls, you reach out to who I believe was maybe one of your college roommates,
Right.
find out that he's here in Chicago in real estate, and you said, hey, I really would love to come up and shadow you.
Yeah.
And so you came up here to shadow him and then fell in love with real estate. And that took a lot of courage.
Right, great point. And so to you, especially to your new agents, even agents that are sitting around that you're just not happy, you're miserable, and you're like, what's wrong with me? Why am I not motivated? You need to go back to the beginning, and you need to take the risk, because if you're not happy now, why live the rest of your life being unhappy? What if it's just something simple, like taking a personality test? And figuring out, oh, wow, yikes, my personality says I should be working with sellers and not buyers. I mean, I've got agents on my team that work with sellers. If they work with buyers, they probably would be in the soup line right now. I mean, they just don't have that warm, the high I personalities, the warm fuzzies, y'all are made for buyers. Go do the buyer thing. And the cold, calculating assassins, go over, play with investors and stuff get away from buyers, okay? You're going to chase them away, and you're going to hurt your brand. So, that being said, first and foremost, I challenge everyone in this room to go and get a personality test, even if you think you're doing the right thing. Even if you think that you're in the right place, verify that. Here's the thing, Ashley. God made us. He made us all differently. When you get the personality test, it doesn't lie. And the other problem is this. So I learned the hard way. I can't fit myself into a situation where my personality does not fit. So I would encourage, first and foremost, everyone in this room needs to get a personality test. And you need to figure out, who you are, and does your personality fit into the job? That's first and foremost, because you cannot, without having that information, you can't say that you're a failure or a loser. You'll have, if you're in the wrong chair and you're not successful because you're not motivated, because you're in the wrong chair, and then you know what your mind does. So your mind will sabotage you with negative thoughts. And then that snowballs. And then that makes it worse. And then you're less motivated, even if you have business that you can execute. Then it's even worse. So this is like listen, this market is different than any other market. I've been through 9 shifts. The atypical market shift goes from 3 to 5 years. Because of the complexity of the reason for this market shift, you were looking at probably 10 years before this thing really turns around. So obviously if the interest rates go down, it's going to help and so forth. But with these artificial interest rates that were done around the COVID time, where you had 2.5%, 3%. That stuff those are not real interest rates, and that is not market driven. So the market will never come back to that, more than likely, unless the government does what they did and artificially drives them down. So that being said, that's great news. You want to know why it's great news? because now you know. Now you know, and now you know. The coasting, any agents come in during COVID time? Okay. I feel sorry for you, okay? And here's why. You came in when it was easy. You came in when it was cool to be easy because you did not have to work. You just had to sit there. I mean, hey, look, it was a lot of us, even the top producers, saying, yeah, we kind of took the foot off the gas because we had so much business coming in, you know, so we kind of, I don't want to say we weren't hungry. We just got a little less hungry because we just had so much coming in the room. It was so overwhelming, you know. And as I look back, next time I get in a situation like that, I'm going to get way more organized. I was not organized and prepared for the psychoticness, you know, of what the business went to with this crazy low interest rates. So the good news is now you know. If you want to stay in this room, if you want to continue and be successful in ROA, you better step your game up. And it starts from the bottom. You have to be proactive and you have to be purposeful in your systems and in your direction. You know, this business is very predictable, believe it or not. If you have systems in place and you have a schedule in place and you calendar everything and you stay on point, you can make your income predictable. But if you don't do that, like probably everybody in this room, then your business, or a majority of the people in this room, then your business is not predictable. And the more predictable it is, the better you feel, the more confident you feel, the more confidence that you get because you start getting successful. You know.
So Frank,
yeah,
that reminds me of something that you shared with me. When you moved here to Chicago and you were starting in your business, you made a contract with yourself for a year.
Okay.
And so you made this contract with yourself for a year, and you can share what your process was. But what I want to jump to is the King of the South Side nickname, right? I asked you kind of the story behind that. And what I think is so important for people to know about you is when we were having this conversation, you didn't share with me the awards you've won. You didn't share with me what your production is. You didn't share with me how many, right? You could have shared all of these accolades, but what you shared, and I want to read it because I want to say verbatim what you said. You said, "The South Side is my bundle of joy." The South Side is my bundle of joy. And that just, man, right here, pierced my heart, right? And I can tell you're welling up right now. And that is, I know the message that you want to get across to everybody today is that finding within yourself and within your heart what that joy is. So if you can maybe take us back to that very first person that you helped, because I know there's a beautiful story around that really helped you identify, this is where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
This is what I'm supposed to be doing.
So you cover a couple of things. Before I jump into that story, I do want to talk about the contract. Can I start with that first?
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. So when I got here, how many people did I know? 0. I had a phone, you know, a landline. I had the MLS. Guess what that was? It was a book, and it came out once a month, and it doesn't get updated, but once a month. Think about how challenging that is. Don't tell me y'all have it hard, man. Don't even start with me, because I'm gonna whoop your ass. I'm gonna meet you in the hallway, man. Okay. We had a pager, had a little bucket with coins. There was a payphone at every corner in the city of Chicago, if y'all remember that. Man, I mean, it was crazy. So guess what? I didn't complain about it. I wasn't looking for the, you know, what's the magic pill, the next shiny object. I did one thing, and I did it very well. I did it better than anybody else. I worked my ass off. And my foundation is the work. Every top producer, people say, what do I need to do, what do I need to do? Okay, so here's what I did. When I first got here, I wrote the contract to myself and I said, I will work for 1 year and I will see if this is where I belong. And so what I did was Monday through Saturday, I worked from 9 o'clock to 9 o'clock. That's not 9 a.m. to 9 a.m., 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Cold calling. Monday through Saturday. Sunday, I went to church and I played golf in the afternoon, weather permitting. So for the golf, not the church, wasn't weather permitting. But anyway, so when somebody comes to me and says, hey, this job's really hard, I'm like, okay, so this is what hard work is to me. They explain to me, you just got here, it's 10 o'clock, right? Got it. Okay. What'd you do yesterday? What'd you do? Show me your calendar. Open up your phone. Well, no, blank, 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 blank. So, you want to make it in this business, especially now, coming into the market now, and knowing that this is going to be a long run. You need to have a long run with hard work and build your foundation. There is no shortcut. And let me tell you the other problem here. So you're here today, congratulations for seeking knowledge and information. Here's the sad part. Maybe 1, 2 of you are going to apply it. So the real secret, you want to get the little red book, and what's the secret, man? Where's it, Yeah, the secret is application. So what makes me different than you is I apply everything I learn. You don't. So let's get a reality check right now. You want to get better? Look, come on now. Most of you know what you need to do. Most of you know you're not doing the work. Most of you know that you are afraid to call. I'll tell you another thing too. If David was here, I would tell him everybody in this room should be forced to spend 20 minutes calling your database, your phone, before you leave. I'm telling you, there's nothing that's more freeing than when you're enslaved in that fear, when you're afraid to talk to someone because you're afraid of rejection because you don't understand it. And when you talk to 10, 20 people, you're like, still alive, I'm still here. It looks like it's still the same building. It's the action that leads to confidence. It's the action that you're like, hey, I can do this. Yeah, somebody told me to go F off, or somebody told me don't come over here, you don't want this smoke. So I was like, I'm always like, you got a barbecue, bro? When is it over, man? So I mean, look, you got to have a little fun with it. You got to, when I cold called day and night, I would have gone crazy if I believed everybody. You have strangers that don't know you. You have strangers that are tired of hearing people call them and begging for stuff. So, and that's when I learned a very valuable lesson is come from excessive value. Have so much value to give that people want to listen to you. If you just call up and say, hey man, I just called to see if, and this is all I was told when I first started. Hey, you want to sell or buy your house? Click, but I knew my numbers after a while. I knew that for every 100, I would get 3 to 5 appointments, every 100 calls, and then I get a deal out of it. So every 100 people I talked, this is back in the day, every 100 people that I talked to, I knew. So then after a while, it was like every time I heard a no or an FU, I'm like, thank you. That means I'm that much closer. That means I'm.
That's right.
And then I did another trick. Another trick was I monetized the no's. So whether it was at the time, based on what I was making per transaction, it might have been $50 a no, $100 a no, whatever. You start playing that game, and it becomes fun. Because after a while, I turned cold calling into a sport. I'm gonna see, because once you know your enough, if you're like, the Walking Dead, I'm cold calling today. How about, hey, look, I'm going to call 100 people. So I'm going to try to talk to 20 people when I have 100 people. And the 20 people I want to talk to, I want to get 3 appointments. So you have a target. You have a GPS. You are not given a GPS in life. It is your responsibility to create your own life, to create your own success. You create it by creating a GPS. You know where you're going. If you don't know where you're going, man, you will burn out. I mean, if you don't know who you are, and you don't know who you're supposed to be working with, and you don't have a direction to go in, and you don't have specific goals, then you're going to get sidetracked, and you're going to get distracted, and you're going to run out of gas. It's very extremely important.
So Frank, I think that is a perfect segue, because now, we're really talking about principles that you believe, this is your point of view, that what it takes to become a top producer. And one of the principles that you really believe in is the finder, minder, grinder methodology, right? Or principle. And I would love for you to share that with everybody and really break that down and explain finder, minder, grinder, because I think that can help people really kind of figure out what bucket they're in, and maybe they need to team up with someone who doesn't have their particular zone of genius. And, we believe in collaboration over competition, and that there is power when you come together and unite. So let's talk about that for a minute.
Every business, whether it's real estate or accounting or restaurant around here, whatever it is, every business has 2 things that you need to be successful. One is the finding part, is bringing the business in. The other one is the minding part, is handling the business and caring for the business, right? So if you, now you didn't need to be a finder back in the COVID days, because you had so much business coming in, and so that's why I feel sorry for you people that started in the day of COVID, because you didn't have to go find it. You didn't have to develop that dog inside of you. Now you do. So now, if you don't have that, if you're wired, you take that personality test and you realize, I'm not a finder, man. I'm not a high D personality. Cool. That's all right. But in this particular time of real estate, you solve that by partnering up with a D. So the D, like me, I don't want to do no minding. I just want to kill who's ever in my path. I don't want to clean it up. So I get somebody else to clean it up for me. So I have people on my team that do the minding part. I'll go find it. They mind it, and we have a financial relationship. So I want to encourage you, every one of you, to figure out, are you a finder? Do you enjoy going out and getting business? Or are you a minder? Are you excellent at managing business once it gets? And then, if you are, so the drivers the finders can survive in this business. The minders cannot survive. So you see all these agents leaving. You see these agents that aren't doing business. Wow, there's crazy numbers out there. 71%, 74% of agents didn't close a transaction last year. Those are primarily minders. Those are agents, when the market shifts, they don't know what to do. They have no direction. It's real simple. Is you join a team, or B, you look for for someone that you can partner up with. Talk to David and say, David, look, I think this is really my specialty. Who can you match me up with that we can pair up, and I can help them and they can help you, because you really need both. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't be, if I didn't have the minders on my side, I'd be a hot mess. I am a hot mess, but I'm a high D hot mess. So I'm a productive high mess, but I know my limits.
It's controlled chaos.
Yeah,
controlled chaos.
I know my
over
limits,
here.
and I know how to eradicate that problem. I'm challenging you today, when you leave, in addition to everything I told you need to do, you also need to get your business model correct. Because now, more than ever, this thing is not going to shut off. This thing is not going to change anytime soon. Until those 2.5% mortgages become less and less populated, and the 7% mortgages become the norm, and the bigger population, then the market can change, and we can go back to a more normal market. Until then, this is here to stay, and we probably won't see anything like this again, because the government's not going to do anything stupid like they did and buy all the mortgage-backed securities and artificially drive the rates down. So that's the good news. The bad news, so to speak, is you got to level up. But the good news about that is, guess what? If you level up, you become great. And so this is a shout out to you to say you need to dig inside and you need to become great. Every one of you in this room should be making six figures. You have no excuse not to do that. And the information that I'm giving you today is the beginning of your success. And if you don't apply it, at the end of the day, if you don't start applying everything I'm telling you to do, then you will not get there. The magic pill is, the shortcut is the long way. The shortcut is the long way. Oh yeah, but Frank, if I had an assistant, I want to leverage my business. I remember I talked to one guy, I said, you just started, you don't have any business to leverage. What are you talking about, man? Listen, you need to make a commitment right now. Right here, right now. This is like a church altar call. This is, if you push it on till tomorrow, you're just doing the same thing you do every day. You have to say right now to yourself, just take a moment right now and say, I care about myself, I care about my family, and I care about my future. And if you do that right now, right here, your life will change. But if you're convincing if your normal mind, your thoughts in your mind, the protective thoughts are saying, hey, I'll get to it tomorrow. It ain't going to happen. It is now or never. Because if you don't do that, I would encourage you just to get up and leave. Because you are going to be gone. Might as well leave now, because you're going to be making zero money. And if you don't leave now, you're going to, you could ruin your relationships. You can get evicted. You can do all that stuff. Go find a place where you belong. But if you're not willing to sacrifice and go hard now, then you're going to epically fail. I've seen this. I've been around for 43 years. I'm not just blowing smoke. I've seen a lot of successful people. I've seen people closing hundreds of transactions a year. And then their model shifts, the market shifts, they don't change. They don't they don't zig with the zig and zag with the zag. And they get their asses handed to them. And they end up sleeping out of cars. They're in hotel rooms when they can. This is real. This is serious stuff, y'all. And I'm here to Paul Revere this to you. It is now or never. You ain't going to change today, right now, then you're not going to change. Yeah, this kid, let me move the goalpost till tomorrow. That's what we all say. Eh? Mm-hmm. I did that for years with my weight, to the point where I took off, I'm like at 110 pounds in a year, a little bit over a year now. And the reason why I did that is because I made a decision. I always said, I'll get to it. Or I'll do like a couple meals. I'm like, okay, now I'm going to reward myself and eat a whole pizza. I'm doing I'm playing the game, just like, we all know what that's like, right? And well, some of you do. I'm looking at some skinny people out there. Well, maybe most of y'all can feel me. Listen, the difference with real estate and business is you can't hide your fat. So I can get up here and say, I'm eating healthy and stuff like that. And you're like, dude, you're like, yeah, but I'm smaller now. But if I wasn't, but you know what I'm saying? So the problem with business is you can pump fake anybody. But more importantly, you pump fake yourself. And when you do that, you're destined for a disaster. So I'm encouraging everyone today. Take a second. I don't care what you decide, what direction you decide you're going to go in, whether you're going to leave real estate or stay real estate. Whatever you do, you need to make a decision today. The playtime's over, boys and girls. This is reality. I've never seen the market like this before. I work my ass off every day. This isn't like a 8-foot wave coming in. This is a tsunami, and I don't see it ending.
So Frank, part of that, and when we were chatting before, is you really believe that everyone needs to have at least 3 different lead pillars. So I think that's really important to stress. You really like having 3 different pillars of lead sources, and how important it is right now with what you just said, is that we've got to think outside of the box and get creative. And I know you talk a lot about how important it is to find off-market properties. So if you want to maybe touch on that for a minute.
Yeah. So here's the beauty of real estate and the curse of real estate. The business is always changing. So it makes it interesting. The problem is a lot of agents don't change with a change. So I'm always looking at different, I'm looking to see where the doors are opening, where the doors are closing. Here's the thing, okay? If you say, hey, I was real successful, but now I'm not. I'm waiting for the market to come back. No, dude, no, don't say that in front of me because I'm gonna slap you. But listen, it's not that you're being unsuccessful. It's that you're not You have to think like a CEO. This is a lot of problem is a lot of agents come in and they're order takers. They want to show a house and bring, ding ding, sunny side up, table 3, and okay, now give me my check, bitch, my money, I mean it's like I hear stuff like that. I've seen agents like show a house, ghost their clients, show up for closing, and say, I'll be in the lobby. Let me know when my check's ready. We're all like, what the? But there's more of you are like that than you are a CEO. You're not running your business like a business, and playtime's over. So yes, and so part of that is lead generation, and that always changes. So one moment MLS is hot, another moment, you can, Facebook groups are hot. You got all these different groups out there, Investor Lift, and all these. So the key is everybody that I know that's a top producer has a minimum of 3 lead generation sources, and they rotate in and out too. So they're always changing. You're always moving to the market shift. So and another thing too is you should be studying the market. You should be looking at like stuff online that's free. And there's plenty of loan officers here too, like Irma. Yeah, could advise you on what's going on with the interest rates. There's Housing Wire. Logan at Housing Wire is a genius. I mean, there's just so much free information out there. You can just glance at every morning and see, hey, what's what is going to affect the market rates today or this week? Is the CPI report coming out? What do they predict? There's so many different things. So you need to become an expert. You need to change your business model. You need to become an expert at market knowledge. You need to become an expert at figuring out which lead generation sources. Look, the issue now, I think we can all agree upon, is finding listings. So if you don't make that your number one resource, then you're not valuable to a lot of clients. When you make the number one value in real estate right now is listings. And when you figure out how to get listings, even you can even go to MLS. You go to MLS and look at old closings and look at people that have like massive equity in there from just a few years ago. They may not be happy with their house. Little conversation, hey, sold your house 3 years ago, how's it working for you? Oh man, it's horrible. We changed, our lifestyles changed, blah, 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 blah. You know you have over $100,000 in money right now that you can put to use. Or, hey, I love my house. Cool. You know you've got $100,000 dormant right now. We can go and take and invest in investment properties. What do you have for bills right now? You got car payment, kids' education. What's going on? Why don't we find a solution so that we can pay those off, so you don't have to deal with those financial burdens. There's so many different avenues, y'all, to go. So many different lead generation sources. You have to have your pulse. You have to have your ear on the wall. You have to be paying attention. This is not a order taker game like it was in COVID. Now the rules have changed, and now this is where the finders are way more valuable now than the minders. This is where if you are a minder, you better get your ass linked up with a finder or on a team, otherwise you will be gone. Because if you don't know how to bring in the business, this is a complicated game now. You know, as my friend in the back of the room would say, this is chess, not checkers, right?
Right. Now, and in addition to having your different lead sources, you also believe that it is critical to know exactly what to say. And I know you have some great resources that you would love to share with everybody.
Yeah, all right. So here's what I'm going to do. I did bring some books with me today that I'm going to give out. So I tell you what, I didn't know who to give it to at first, but I do know one person that I want to give it to, which is a young kid that's hungry. Brian, come on up here.
All right, Brian.
Whatever you want. Yeah, you can right here, bro. So there are two books. One is exactly what to say. Yeah, get your ass out of here. So one is exactly what to say, and so somebody give me a definition of what selling is. Anyone? What's that? I'm sorry? Informing, okay. Someone else, cool, okay, great.
Providing a resource that's needed.
Providing resources? Filling a need. Yes. Cool. So I think everybody's so my definition of selling selling is not telling. It's asking the appropriate questions to get a desired response to help a person self-discover. Who do you trust more than anybody else? Yourself? Your spouse? Probably not your spouse, but just kidding, joke. So the selling is the art of letting the other person self-discover the truth. So I'll give you an example. So when I first got into real estate, I shadowed top producers. This is back in 1983 before their scripts and all that, And remember, there's no computers, MLS, and all that jazz. So anyways, so I'm walking through houses, and agents, these are top agents. They're like, living room, dining room, kitchen. I'm like, no shit, that's a kitchen, man. I thought that was a bathroom, man. Looks so much like a toilet. You sure that's a kitchen? But so then I thought to myself, wait a minute, this is insane. I said, got it. And thought just hit me. And so I would, I don't show homes really that anymore. Rarely, once in a while I do. For friends of friends of friends that beg me. But so when I would show up at a house, I would go, okay, here we are. Get ready for the Frank Montro Homes luxury tour. And so they're like, what? So I'm like, yeah, we're gonna do a lifestyle tour. And so they're like, what, lifestyle tour? And so what I would do is I'd walk in every room. I'm like, okay, here's the living room. Show me how you live in it. How big is your couch? If they had two teenagers, I would spread their arms out and and have them like they're giggling and stuff. So now I got them interacting. So then they realize, oh wow, my couch is not going to fit in this room. So people don't realize it when they walk through a house. They're buying lifestyle. But if you have especially if you have a vacant house, and it's you get overwhelmed with just the beauty and the coolness of the room, you forget you're here to figure out, is this going to fit in? If a house is vacant and you don't have the ability to to see whether furniture, you don't have the visualization skill, which a lot of people don't, you can end up buying the wrong house. And so what I did to help sell is I helped them tell me, hey, this works for me. And then they come out, they're like, we want this house. We don't want to look at any more houses. This fits our budget. I'm like, that's why you pay me the big bucks, baby. The king. See, the king, I was the king in Southside in training. I didn't even know I was the king. I found out later. So anyway, that is where we at. Okay. Oh, can I mention the one thing with the story?
Absolutely.
Okay. So just getting back to, it was like a year in the business, and I'm like, I was starting to crush it. I'm like, man, I love this, but there's got to be something more to this. I really just want to get a little sink my teeth into this. I want to get. So it was. I was showing this house. It's a rehab house to this couple, and it was a small 2-bedroom house, and they had a friend come along with them, and she's a single mom, and, they're like, yeah, this is way too small for us, and she's looking around like this. I'm like, is this your home? And she goes, I'd love to have this for my home. However, my lender, and now keep in mind this is 1983, my lender says we don't, and this is a big company, I'm not going to mention any names. This is a big company, and this particular loan officer for this company said, we don't lend to single moms. So I said, do you trust me? Do you like me? She goes, yes and yes. All the boxes get checked. I got her house. She came out of the closing. It was, man, I'm telling you, it was magical. She looked up, and she had tears coming down her ears. Her face, and she just said, thank you, God. I just realized I'm here. This is where I belong. This is what I'm supposed to be doing in my life. And it changed my life. And you need to find your why, your purpose in life. You need to find out why are you here on this earth? Is it to make money? Is it to help? I think you're here to help people. And I think you have certain talents and gifts that nobody else has. And you need to get along with yourself and write it down. Write down what your strengths are. And then take that personality test and become great. Stop being average, man. You guys are playing too small, man. You should be up here. You should be on this stage. I should be listening to you. You've made the reason why you are where you are today is because you choose to be there. Not because the market changed or, man, if I only got this break or this deal didn't work out or that's, this is an inside out game. And the second you come to the realization that you have the power to be a top producer is when it changes. And that's what happened with me. Is over my years of realizing that I have to work to get where I am, and I never thought that I was exceptionally like a pretty boy or any like that stuff or Mr. Popularity or whatever. I was never into that stuff, but I outworked everybody, and I won because I outworked everybody, and then I developed my skills, and so you outwork everybody, you develop skills, or you go up against me, good luck, because I had this one agent, in a meeting at the office I'm in, and she's a newer agent, about a year old, and she goes, what happens if I go on a listing and I go up against Frank? And I said in front of 50 agents, you're going to lose. Was I mean, or did I do her right? Did I wake her up to the fact that she needs to script up, man? You better know what you're saying. If I was in reverse roles, I would have said, I'm going to get your ass in a year from now. I'm coming after you. But see, that's my competitive nature. And it was driven by a lot of things that happened in my life, like when I was a baseball player, and just using that whole work ethic to get ahead in life, was getting grades, and I attribute everything to hard work. It really has nothing to do with luck. Its skill obviously is important. That takes you to the next level. But if you don't build your foundation on hard work, if that isn't your silver lining, your magic pill, you will not be a successful real estate agent. I don't know any top agents that don't make hard work their motto.
So Frank, I cannot believe how fast the time has gone. So I'm going to pause.
I got a lot more to talk about.
I know, right? So what comes to mind, through this entire time that we've had together, is that you really took your pain and you turned it into your power. And all of us have pain in our life, and we just need to channel it into our power. So right now we're just going to take a short little break, and we're going to do a mortgage minute. Before I bring Irma up, I want to just shout out to all of our live streamers. Now is the time for you to get your questions ready. So right about now, you should be seeing a QR code, and it should have a phone number. So just in case the QR code doesn't work, use the phone number. Please message us with your questions. We're going to do a short Q&A for Frank. So any questions you send in, we're just going to do an organic Q&A. Yep. And yes?
I just said, can I
Yes?
say about that one, the one objection?
Okay,
to pray about it.
Okay.
Because that would be a fun one leading the break.
Okay. All right.
Somebody mentioned objections. So one of my favorite objections is, we're religious and we need to pray about it. You want to know what the answer is? Who do you think sent me?
I love it.
Ta-da.
I love it. Ta-da. Ta-da. Okay, so on that note, I would love for everyone to give Irma a huge round of applause. She's going to do our mortgage minute. Please come on up here, Irma.
Thank you, Ashley. Appreciate it. Frank, I just want to say, we had dinner last night and our conversation was amazing. Like, I really connected with you because I've been in the business, 30 years. And so we're old school.
Everybody connects with the king,
Yes.
baby. Come on.
There you go. I just want to let you know, thank you so much for being so vulnerable. And, the story that you told about the single mother, think about it. That wasn't too long ago.
Crazy, man.
Right?
Yeah.
And now, a large percentage of single moms are the ones that are buying the house right now. So thank you so much for being vulnerable, for sharing all your golden nuggets. I'm going to cry now. And just being here and sharing all of this with us. So let's give them a round of applause. So, I was going to talk about a mortgage product today, but, after having dinner with Frank last night, I just really felt this awesome, surge of energy and just positivity, and that's how I like to live my life. I've been in the business for going 30 years. Back in, my son is actually just turned 32, so I actually had him when I was in the mortgage business. So I guess I've been at, 32 years now, and I absolutely love it. One thing that I've seen, though, in this mortgage industry and as well as the real estate industry is those that survive are the ones that hustle and they adapt, right? Survival of the fittest. So when you hear the noise, as I've mentioned before, through the media, plug your ears, but listen enough so that way you can educate your clients, right? Because that's your job. You are the leaders out there. If you do not like leading, then I would advise you not to be in the business as he has, because you are leaders. Those clients are looking for you to lead them, right? And so in doing that, the hustle, the grit, what I love about the business the most is what you put into it is what you get out. So a saying I should probably trademark this saying is, your income is a byproduct of the service you provide. If you provide excellent service, what's your income? Excellent. You provide mediocre service, what's your income? Mediocre. So remember, right now, as you're getting ready, because right now we are on the cusp of the spring market. The weather's getting better. People are going to start going out to the open houses more. So get ready, everyone. You're here for a reason. And we had excellent motivation today and all the golden nuggets that he shared with us today. Get ready to thrive in 2025. Thank you.
Love it.
Good job.
Thank you, Irma. Thank you, Irma. Irma is absolutely amazing. I would encourage all of you, and right about now, hopefully you're seeing a QR code. If you would love for Irma to visit with you or anyone on her team, please text the code word MCA. And again, if that QR code is not working for some reason, there's a phone number. Please message us MCA. Irma, as you can tell, not only is she just a powerhouse, she has a heart of gold, and she knows what she is talking about. So please, MCA and Irma and someone on her team would love to get in touch with you and answer any questions that you may have. So now we're going to go into our quick Q&A. For our live studio audience, we are going to be having a private mastermind where we're going to be addressing your questions, and we have phenomenal Steve, who is going to be going Steve
Reed.
Yeah, Steve Reed. So we're going to be doing a deeper dive into the DISC personality. So that's for everybody here in our studio audience as our gift and our thank you for being here in person. So
and
Frank,
Adrian Miller too.
Okay. Oh, please,
Yeah,
please tell us about Adrian.
Adrian. So if you're, one of the things that's changing now is the agent no longer is becoming a traditional agent. You're going to need to know how to do novation deals, sub-2 deals, and you hear these terms being thrown around like they're candy right now, and you don't know how to do them. This man, and he's got some new program now, some equity program where you can pull money out while you're doing a rehab and use it to, before you even close a deal, to funds to rehab your property. He's got a lot of cool ideas, and he's the anybody familiar with Pace Morby? Yes, no, maybe. Yeah, we got some hands. Yes, I see those hands. Yes, yeah. So he's the Midwest rep for Pace Morby. So Pace is the sub-2 guy. He's the giant in the United States. He's nationwide. So this is the future. We're talking about shifts in the market. The future is going to be you no longer go in and say, hey, you want to list your house? And, oh, I can't sell it. Now what you become is solutions oriented. So when you go in, you're looking at, can I sell, do I give you cash price? I give you what an investor will pay for it. What I would pay for it. What we can novate it, which is a special type of listing. We could sub-2 it, which is a special type of seller financing creative. We can do a straight seller finance. We can do 203K. We can do fix and list. I mean, there's just, you need to arm yourself up. You have your weapons are outdated, y'all. So we're using cannons and and huge guns. Y'all are coming in with just listing agreements that you're not going to win. So you want to improve your listing conversion. You need to know all of these different ways to sell a house. There's a lot of and even with you've got somebody who has a 2.5% interest rate. And they have low equity. You can do have somebody assume that mortgage, and now all of a sudden it becomes easier to sell because the mortgage payment is going to be a lot less. You have to think outside of the box. Mm-hmm. It's not like, hey man, your house is worth $250,000, sign a listing. Nah, I owe too much money. Well, we may have to sub-2 it, So we may have to do a seller finance type deal. And if they need to get out, rather than going to foreclosure, that may be a way that they do it. This guy is doing his thing with that. So he's going to come on and open the curtain, and you're going to see what's behind the curtain and see how he's going to explain how. Now he's not going to show everything, but he's going to explain the mechanics of it so you can further investigate, or you can even partner up with him on some deals as well too, and make additional money where you wouldn't make money. Rather than taking those deals and throw them in a paper basket, start converting them and start making more money. This is not a market where we have the luxury to throw deals away. You have to learn how to convert. This is time to grow up and start thinking bigger. This is the future of real estate.
Okay, so first question from our audience. Mm-hmm. They would love to know what was one of the biggest lessons that you learned from one of your mentors?
One of the biggest lessons that I've learned from one of my mentors, I would say, is not to listen to other people. The reason and to be authentic. Part of the problem was I would always struggle because I'm so intense. I would always struggle with people saying you're a bad guy, you're a mean guy. I mean, still get that to this day. So what he said is, Frank, you need to do Frank. You need to be Frank. So one of the biggest, and the other thing too is, mediocre people don't like you. If you're going to be successful, they don't want to be around you. So they want you to come to their space, and they want to justify their losing attitude and their losing performance. So they will trash you, and they will trash you to your face. They'll tell you work too hard. Why are they saying that? Not because they're saying that because they want you to come into their playground and be a loser. And homie, you don't play that here. We don't do that. So we kick them in. We show them where the door is and grab them by the ear and throw them out. This is war. So every day I get up, I go to war. And that means I got to protect my mind. And one of my biggest enemies are people that think small.
All right, so we have someone in the audience who is working on getting licensed, and they would really love to know what your biggest piece of advice would be as they're working towards getting their license.
Yeah, so what I would do is I would start shadowing successful people. Number one, and like I said at the beginning, take the DISC personality test, find out what, and then match your personality with the lane that you're supposed to be in, and then start shadowing people. I would recommend saying, hey, David, who would I, who can I go? I want to see what it's like. Can I hang out with someone who specializes in sellers? Go on some appointments with them? Can I go on appointments with someone that specializes in buyers, investors, right down the line? So commercial, whatever you might think you're interested in, and then you can start developing before you get here, and then start learning scripts. I mean, my goodness, I gave. Ryan, I gave you a book on scripts. It's by Brian Mulrenin, and it is all kinds of badness in it. It is, you can buy the book. It's called Reverse Selling. You can buy the book. It's got every type of script in there, every objection handler. So you need to, if you want to become dominant in this industry, which I'm assuming that's why you get into real estate, is you need to know what you're talking about. You can see if they can let you into, I don't know if they have, do they have, if you guys have practice scripts, otherwise, ask them or start one. You don't need permission. Go out and get it, man. You don't need somebody to tell you, you may move now. You go get it, man. You go hunt, baby. Go get it, man. So those are the things I would do. But when you shadow and you see how it's done, you're like, oh, you're like, this isn't that bad. I can do it, too. Because you take that fear factor. When you first talk to strangers, you're like, man, I don't know if I can do this and stuff. Then when you start talking to strangers, you're like, wow, man, this is kind of fun, man. I'm kind of enjoying this stuff. So
Okay, so our final wrap-up question. I cannot believe how fast this time has gone. I would personally love to know what you feel your gift to the world is and has been.
So I believe that I love helping people. So my gift is connecting. That is what drives me, intensely drives me. I just want to get up. I want to help people. I go to war, man. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it today. And so I just naturally connect people. Loan out. You need a loan officer. Goes this guy. You need this. Go this. A lot of times I'm not even getting paid. It's just what I do, man. There's a lot of, I'll connect, realtors to realtors, investors to me, to me. Well, investors come to me, baby. You ain't going anywhere else, man. But yeah, so I would say that's my biggest gift is connecting people to the right people.
Well, you have been an absolute gift to all of us on the show today. Would everyone please give Frank a huge round of applause as we're getting ready to wrap up. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So as we're just getting ready to prep for our private mastermind, I just want to give a shout out again to all of our live streamers. Thank you so much for joining us. We are here every single Friday with brand new top producers to help give back and really help you fast track and accelerate your success. So please do follow us, America's Real Estate Show, on Instagram. We also have a YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe so that you always know when we're going live. So that is our send-off for today. Have an amazing weekend, and we will see you next time. All right, DJ, let's crank up the music.
Green and white, 10 hundo, $1,000 down, Frank Montro. Call the number now, call it now pronto. Multi-unit townhouse, single family condo. They paying rent, we help them explore. Fire landlords, make them